What's up everybody? Welcome to Talking Over Driving Fast with Heelke. The F1 season is right around the corner and I've been looking for excuses to be even more occupied with the sport during the season because I love talking about it. So this is what I've come up with. Talking Over Driving Fast with Heelke. Now, I'm writing this after having finished and recorded a first race to make this episode out of. That's not a Formula 1 race because if you watch Formula 1, you know it's still a month away. I can't wait for it, which is why I already got started with this. Also, just to get into it, just to practice. Now, as there won't be an F1 race until the 16th of March in Melbourne, I had to pick something else to try this format out on. Last month, the Daytona 24 was held in America, and I figured let's just take the 1993 Formula 1 cars all the way to Florida, baby. Daytona. We're going to Daytona. So before we get into the race, let me tell you what I aim to make with this. First of all, it's an excuse for me to talk about F1, which I can always use. I want to practice sim racing because as I've been getting into the making of this series, I've also started trying to actually lock in and sit down and try out a car and try to get faster on a track, and I'm very much enjoying that as well. Then looking back at the replays, I also enjoy, and next to that I also enjoy writing and editing. So I figured let's try to roll it all up in a nice big bun of Formula 1 stuff, and we'll see how it goes. See if after a season of doing this, I get any better at driving the fast car. The plan is to take the Benetton B193 that Michael Schumacher drove in 1993, the year I was born, and drive it over as many tracks of the F1 season that I can manage to find in Automobilista 2. Though I do also have Assetto Corsa lined up, which should be able to get every track in there at least, but the AI and stuff, I don't know if I can trust the AI if I drive something on there. But whatever the case, it will be fine. I will have to make do. There's two reasons for me to choose this particular car, even though it's a generic variant, instead of the actual B193. One is that it's a gorgeous car, and I've gotten to see it the closest I've ever seen an F1 car last summer in Assen when it was there, and I got to take photos of it off of the grandstands. I really liked seeing it in real life. I've never seen another Formula 1 car, at least not before that day, because Emerson Fittipaldi was actually there. So he was driving his own car, which was also very cool to see. Now I saw this old picture, which they say on Wikipedia is Emerson Fittipaldi, but it does say Emerson Fittipaldi, but it doesn't seem to be the same car exactly. But I really liked seeing him there. Here's the Benetton though that I want to drive, even though the one in the picture is actually the B192 and not the B193. It was a great experience to hear them roar in real life. And when I started figuring out the idea for this series, I knew I had to be this car, at least in Automobilista 2, where it is just included. I really like it. Now, besides the sappy story, I assumed the Formula High-Tech Gen 2, as Raisa calls the group of cars, would be a relatively easy drive, since they've got traction control and ABS. And technically that is true, but it turns out that they are still Formula 1 cars, so they're still hard to drive. And we'll get right into that. Like I said, I've ran the race already, and because of that, I've already figured out that there's going to be a lot to learn. The point of this series is to see if after the races have been done, my skill has actually improved in any capacity. either in the simulator or I'm making these videos, you know, even if it's just talking to my camera, it's all good. All right, let's get into the race. As soon as I got into the first practice session, I felt that one practice session would not be enough. Who could have guessed that F1 cars would be hard to drive? Let's put some of the biggest learning points that quickly became very obvious up on the whiteboard behind me. I overfueled like crazy. I started with 139 liters of fuel, and I ended with 105 left over. Now, I figured, but we'll get back to that would impact my top speed, the top speed of my car, more like. The other thing that became very, very obvious is that I gotta focus on going over the track smoothly instead of losing control. I had written, instead of trying to go fast, which, you know, is true that I'm trying, but at the same time, it's not trying to go fast, it's actually losing control. Mr. Lightspeed, like I said, if you don't know anything about setups, like me, I don't even know what most of the options do. I know what PSI does for a tire, right? But I don't know what suspension travel does. Well, literally I do. But what it means, I don't know. So we will have to figure all that out on the fly. We will, at some point. I will be looking up more and more throughout the season, as in guides to learn it for myself, but we will have to just figure it out. It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to all that. Okay, here I'm just chasing myself, trying to get faster. Definitely not focused on just trying to learn the track, which will be something that I try to focus on a little more, because in the one session that I did trying Melbourne, I already noticed that can make a huge difference, just settling in and doing a few laps calmly. I don't know why I feel the need to immediately start doing this stuff, but yeah, it doesn't go very well. But I figured using the hot laps, using these setups mainly of Mr. Lightspeed in this case, would give me a little bit more of a chance to actually use a setup. But hot lap setups aren't racing setups, of course. In hindsight, it's pretty obvious. Getting to know the track in slower cars as well would be a very good and fun exercise, which I have been doing. So I've tried the Formula Trainer, which sounds like a very good pick, but I've also been enjoying the Ginetta G40 and the GT4 cars that seem to be pretty big newbie attractors because of their assists, which I'm not one to judge. I did the 1993 season as something very particular, which is assists. So I like to use assists because I think it makes it easier to drive. I realize that it doesn't make you faster. I'm not a racing driver. So there it is. Now, the F1 cars aren't very popular on Daytona, which is also not a surprise because it's not an F1 track. So it has a little less a pool for F1 cars and F1 fans. But because of the Daytona 24, I figured it would be fun to have a drive there. Because of that, I got into what represents the FW15C car, the Williams of that year, instead of the Benetton, because there are just no times on the Benetton. Or, I don't know, were there no times or no competitive times? As if I'm gonna be competitive, but it is what it is, boys. It is what it is. The reason that I picked the FW15C is because there was a setup, and so that I could check out a bit of that setup. I didn't do anything with that because I didn't want to actually set my car up and fail with that. So I just took a little bit of a look, and I really enjoyed seeing that. Oh, I'm going into the pits. Let me see. Oops, that wasn't the video. That's my bad. That's my bad. All right. So the practice session For the next time, I'm definitely going to try and just save the replay instead of recording stuff so that I have to use video files for it. But, you know, it is what it is for now. Let's have a little look through the practice clips. Is there any fun stuff? I don't really know. I haven't really figured out a way to search for stuff yet. There we go. I like that it's immediately that there is a very immediate crash there. That is so this is not yet, if I'm correct, no. As you can see, there is 135 liters of fuel in this car, which is a lot. But that's because I was planning on not skipping any practice. I don't think I actually managed, because it was not a one and done like I had thought. So I didn't stick to my no skipping, which, you know, we'll figure out if everything starts going better and I know to practice a little more and know the track a little. Then we could see if a one go is still viable, but we'll have to make adjustments as we go. Anyway, as you can see, at least I am driving the car here, which is fun. I'm not crashing right now. And this is also the point, the straight towards the bus stop chicane that we just passed was the point where I realized, not in this lap obviously because we're not in the race yet, but that was the point where I realized that there was way too much fuel in the car. So that is really something that I have to check before the next time. But I thought I want to drive for half an hour. Let's see how much fuel we need. That is what it is. Let's have a look for qualifying, because I definitely haven't finished qualifying. I did do my best this one time, but again, you know, I didn't want to get stuck in the swamp of trying to get, you know, all this stuff perfectly right. So I had to just go with it at some point, and I did. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. I really liked the qualifying, or well, I need to figure out what AI settings are good, but that could be different from track to track. I already know. So it is gonna be a work in progress at that point as well, because we need to. I think the AI was at 85 in this particular race. Well, definitely in the race. I don't know if they were in this session yet. I think they may have been at 100 or at 90. But 85 was the point where I actually got into some battles and, you know, lost everything at some point. But got into some battles and got into the position that I could fight those battles. So that seems to me like that could be a good thing for the future. It's all driver development, baby. Now let's watch this drive. I don't know the names for these corners, which is also something that I really want to do for the F1 tracks. No hate, Daytona, no hate. I love the Daytona 24. Really liked Renger van der Zande in there. Yeah, so it's gonna be fun. Here, 327 kilometers an hour. That is the speed that I figured would be impacted by the high fuel load. Now, if I end up getting a little better at qualifying, then we might have more content to watch for that. For now, let me just and also, because I'm thinking about it while I'm saying all this, I need to learn how to talk something around the whole track, because I love that stuff. Alright, I shouldn't have closed that. we're going to the race, baby. So like I said, I did not start at 17. The race is on. Or I did not start at the bottom. I started at 17. And we're not gonna watch all of it. We're just gonna be talking about some of the stuff that I've learned, which is also what the series is gonna be about. Though, you know, we'll see. Alright, boys, let's see. Daytona. So I fueled way too much. As you can see, there's 10 laps. Oh, you cannot see. As you can see, there's only 10 laps. There is 138 liters of fuel in the car at this point, which is way too much. I realized this at this point, just about. No, after the bus stop, I would realize that I had overfueled heavily. So what I did, because I wasn't recording my voice, because I was just focusing on the race, because it was the 4th time of me trying the race. So what I did here was I grabbed my phone and I was recording in like this, like, all right, so I need to prepare better, which was very funny, very funny. Now the AI was on 85, which is also not the highest, right? Which is what it is. I can't. I'm not that good. We'll see. The point of the whole series is trying to get better. So that is getting better at the producing of these videos, but also getting better at the sim racing. So we'll see how it ends up. I also used the reset button, which, you know, it is what it is. I can't really. I just flipped my car a few times. Alright, there we go. Classic. The first spin right here. Is that T1? Is it T1? I don't know, but it goes wrong immediately and I reset myself. It is what it is. Because I just can't. I couldn't do it again. I hope that at some point we won't have to do this, boys. We won't have to reset button. We can just go. But at this point we're 25th out of 27 is what it says. But it does also count the safety car in the pits. So I would probably say that we're 24th out of 26 at this point, and not 24th out of 27, because the safety car, if we're gonna be happy for everyone who beats the safety car, then Lance Stroll is gonna get a trophy at some point. I really enjoy seeing this back, and with 85, because at 100 I was nowhere close. I was halfway in lap 1. I would have been way behind. Oh, that was a nice AI braking session. But all right. So I learned a lot from all this, and even though I overfueled heavily and put the AI on 85, it was so much fun. I managed to make some overtakes that felt amazing. Now, we've seen a few, but let me show you my favorite one as we watch a last spin. Well, no, not last, but a second spin at the very least. All right, so lap 8, we are getting passed by the last guy on the track, going towards the bus stop chicane. I know that the AI doesn't take the bus stop chicane very fast at this AI level, so I was pretty confident I could outbrake them, which is funny to say. But as you can see, let's see, a Dalmas was actually going the wrong way there at some point. Like I said, I will be saving the replays next time so that I can look back at it at every kind of angle. I do have the replay, the trackside replay, but look at this. This is lap 9, the 4th attempt on the race, which is just, it was a lot of fun. I lose the back there, or no, I lose the front actually. But I don't lose it completely. And I do manage to continue on, and after him. So I would like to to take a minute to watch this. And like I said, next time I'll make sure to be able to talk through the corners a little bit more, because I don't know the names, even though I did realize that the one that I have on Assetto Corsa for this does have the names in the track learning app or something. But here we go, and it's bus stop, second to last lap. Ooh, we're so much closer, baby. I loved it. That is so much fun. Just the feeling that gives, it's a lot of fun. I love it. Now, that is obviously very good. Or well, I say very good. I don't mean very good as in high skill, but I mean very good as in I liked the feeling of it. Sadly though, it is still me driving a Formula 1 car at Daytona. So so yeah. I was way too excited. Now, as I said, this is what I mean by I need to get my head out of my ass and not go chase myself and lose my own control over the car. Because now I'm 26th out of 27, and that's what we're gonna bring it home to. But we're not even gonna bring it home. Because at this point, well, I didn't necessarily mind it, which is better than, minding it. I did really want to at least get one position higher, because I knew that I was going to use this race no matter what. So it was a sad ending. A sad ending to what was a very fun race. But I was determined to bring it back to the pits at the very least. Oh, I had kind of forgotten how bad it got at the end here, but it also doesn't get any better. So we can, at the very least, see this real quick. Now next time I will try to make this a little more easier and a little more smooth. But I'm very hyped for this. For this in Australia, for example, I am very, very hyped. I will need to look for an F1 1993 car in Assetto Corsa. If I can't find one, hey, I'm definitely gonna be just using a different car, guys. Look at that. Oh. I love that. Alright, but at some point during the race, I realized that I had overfueled. Now this series is also meant for me to learn, mainly meant for me to learn, so I went back after the shortened race to figure out what, if any, impact the overfueling would have had on the race. I thought, like I said, that my top speed would have been lowered by this oversight. I drove a few laps on a full fuel tank. I then lowered the load and was somewhat surprised to see that the maximum speed was exactly the same throughout the whole track. Or throughout the whole track, I don't know if it was at every point exactly the same because the acceleration might have been impacted or whatever, but braking was definitely impacted. So I had to brake way earlier than I would have had to if I had known that. Which is a pretty funny thing to realize after a race instead. But my thought process for whoever cares was this. I wanted to drive in the practice. So I put fuel in the tank, and then the race came and I didn't change the setup. So it's a learning point, boys. It's a learning point. All right. Now, Melbourne is gonna be the first track of the actual F1 calendar that we're gonna be putting this format to the test to. As you can see in the background, this is from a 3-lap practice session yesterday. Or no, yeah, 3 laps, maybe 6 laps. But to get a lap that felt this good, I was very happy with it. So I'm very much looking forward to how it's gonna evolve throughout the season. And I hope that people enjoy this too. I don't know. I'm very much enjoying even talking about it like this. And I'm also getting very happy watching my own lap back in the back here. So we're not gonna spoil the rest. Have a good day, and I will see you before the 16th of March. Because then, at 5 o'clock in the morning, we've got Melbourne.